My neighbor Karen's smug grin as she hauled my firewood to her cabin was the last straw. I'd spent weeks chopping, stacking, sweating only for her to claim it was communal property. Winter in the Northwoods bites harder than a scorned lover. I'd moved to this remote cabin to escape city noise, craving solitude and self-reliance. My firewood pile was my lifeline, each log a promise of warmth against the brutal cold. Karen, with her manicured nails and entitled swagger, had been a thorn since day one. She'd lecture me on community spirit, while helping herself to my supplies, first my kindling, then my axe, now my entire winter stock. I caught her red-handed, her SUV stuffed with my oak, her excuse dripping with condescension. You weren't using it all, were you? My blood boiled, but I smiled. Revenge, like a good fire, needs careful stoking. I knew the forest better than Karen ever would. Deep in the pines, I'd found a rotting pile of hollow logs, crawling with carpenter ants, nasty, relentless critters that'd chew through anything. Perfect. For 2 nights, I worked under moonlight, hauling those infested logs to my clearing, stacking them where my firewood once stood. I left just enough of my real oak to lure her back. Karen didn't disappoint. She showed up at dawn, her parka pristine, her smirk wider than ever. Borrowing again, she chirped, loading her SUV. I watched from my porch, sipping coffee, my heart pounding with grim satisfaction. She had no idea what she'd just taken. The fallout came fast. That evening, Karen's screams echoed across the valley. I trekked over, feigning concern, and found her cabin in chaos. Ants swarmed her living room, crawling up walls, burrowing into her furniture. Her precious oak table ruined, her wool rugs riddled with holes. She stood in the middle, wild-eyed, swatting at the air. "What did you do?" she shrieked, spotting me. I shrugged, voice calm but sharp. "You took my firewood, Karen. Guess you got more than you bargained for." Her face twisted rage, humiliation, defeat. For a moment, I felt invincible. I'd turned her greed against her, and it felt good. But vengeance has a way of biting back. Word spread among the scattered cabins. Neighbors I'd barely spoken to started whispering. Vindictive, they called me. Unhinged. One old-timer, Gus, who'd always nodded kindly, stopped me at the general store. "You went too far," he said, his eyes heavy with disappointment. "She's a fool, but you poisoned the well for all of us." I brushed it off, but the isolation grew heavier. My victory felt hollow when I sat by my fire, alone, the crackle of logs sounding more like accusations than comfort. Karen's cabin went dark. She left for the city, her pride in tatters. But the ants? They didn't stop at her place. They spread, first to Gus's shed, then to the miller's barn. The forest, once my refuge, turned hostile. Ants chewed through fences, tool handles, even the beams of my own porch. I'd unleashed a plague, all to prove a point. I spent days spraying, setting traps, but the damage was done. The community I'd ignored in my quest for solitude now shunned me. I'd won the battle, but lost the war. My firewood was safe, but my home felt colder than ever. By spring, I was packing my truck. The cabin, my dream of self-reliance, was a reminder of my pettiness. I'd thought Karen was the villain, but I'd become one too. Before I left, I stopped by Gus's place, leaving a bundle of my best oak on his porch with a note, "For the community." Driving out, the forest loomed in my rear view, its silence heavier than any winter storm. Karen's greed had cost her a table. My revenge had cost me a home.